How could you do this to our family? How could you be so selfish?
I am not selfish.
Billionaire impregnated a poor orphan. Years later, he wants the baby. There is a saying among our people that a tree does not make a forest alone, but sometimes a single seed can grow into something the world never expected. In the bustling streets of Lagos, where the sun beat down mercilessly on zinc roofs and the smell of jollof rice mixed with exhaust fumes, there lived a girl named Chioma. She was 17 years old, with skin the color of dark chocolate and eyes that still held traces of childhood innocence despite the weight she carried on her young shoulders. Chioma was an orphan. Her mother had died giving birth to her, and her father, a taxi driver, had passed away 3 years ago when his car collided with a trailer on the Ibadan expressway. Since then, Chioma had lived with her father's sister, Auntie Ngozi, in a cramped face-me-I-face-you compound in Ajegunle. The compound had 15 rooms, all facing a shared corridor where children played and women cooked over kerosene stoves. Chioma's room was the smallest, barely big enough for the thin mattress she slept on and the wooden box that held all her belongings. Auntie Ngozi was not a bad woman, but she was not kind either. She had 5 children of her own, and feeding them was already a struggle. Chioma was just another mouth to feed, another burden to carry. So from the age of 14, Chioma had learned to fend for herself. Every morning before school, she would wake up at 4 o'clock to help Auntie Ngozi prepare akara and pap to sell. After school, she would rush to the market to sell pure water in small plastic bags, balancing a heavy basin on her head as she moved through the crowded streets. Chioma was a beautiful girl. Her beauty was the kind that made people stop and stare. The kind that made market women smile and say, "This girl will marry well one day." But beauty, as Chioma would soon learn, could be both a blessing and a curse. Men looked at her differently now. Their eyes lingered too long, their smiles too wide. Auntie Ngozi had warned her many times. "Chioma, you must be careful," she would say. "Men are like dogs. They see fresh meat and they want to devour it. Don't let any man sweet-talk you. Focus on your books and your future." Chioma had listened. She kept to herself, avoided boys at school, and never lingered in places where men gathered. But fate, as they say, has its own plans. One Saturday afternoon, Chioma had just finished selling her pure water and was counting her money when a man approached her. He was tall and well-dressed, wearing an expensive-looking agbada and gold-rimmed glasses. His car, a sleek black Range Rover Sport, was parked nearby. Chioma had seen cars like that before, but only from a distance. Rich people drove such cars. Important people. The man smiled at her. "Good afternoon, my dear," he said in a smooth, cultured voice. "You look tired. Have you been working all day?" Chioma nodded shyly, clutching her empty basin. "Yes, sir. I sell pure water." The man nodded thoughtfully. "That's good. A hard-working girl. I like that." He pulled out his wallet and handed her a 5,000 naira note. "Buy yourself something to eat. You're too young to be working this hard." Chioma's eyes widened. 5,000 naira was more than she made in a week. "Thank you, sir," she whispered, taking the money with trembling hands. The man smiled again. "What's your name?" "Chioma, sir." "Chioma, a beautiful name for a beautiful girl." He paused, then said, "I'm Chief Okonkwo. I own a construction company here in Lagos. If you ever need help, you can come to me. I like helping young people who are trying to make something of themselves." Chioma didn't know what to say. She thanked him again and watched as he walked back to his car and drove away. For the rest of the day, she couldn't stop thinking about the encounter. 5,000 naira. Just like that, she used part of the money to buy rice and chicken from a nearby bukateria, the first proper meal she had eaten in days. The rest she hid in her wooden box, planning to save it for her school fees. But Chief Okonkwo didn't forget about Chioma. The following week, she saw him again at the same spot. This time, he bought her lunch and asked about her life. Chioma, hungry for kindness and attention, found herself opening up to him. She told him about her parents, about Auntie Ngozi, about her dreams of finishing school and becoming a nurse. Chief Okonkwo listened patiently, nodding and smiling in all the right places. "You're a smart girl, Chioma," he said. "You deserve better than this. Tell you what, I'll help you with your school fees. And if you need anything, books, uniforms, anything at all, just let me know. Chioma couldn't believe her luck. Was this man an angel sent by God? She thanked him profusely, tears of gratitude filling her eyes. Chief Okonkwo waved off her thanks. It's nothing, my dear. I just want to see you succeed. Over the next few weeks, Chief Okonkwo became a regular presence in Chioma's life. He would pick her up after school, buy her food, and sometimes give her money. Chioma began to look forward to seeing him. He was kind, generous, and unlike the men who catcalled her in the market, he treated her with respect. Or so she thought. Auntie Ngozi had noticed the new clothes Chioma was wearing, the money she suddenly had. "Where are you getting all this from?" she demanded one evening. Chioma hesitated. "A kind man is helping me, Auntie. He's paying my school fees." Auntie Ngozi's eyes narrowed. "A kind man? Chioma, there is no such thing as a kind man who helps a young girl for nothing. What does he want from you?" "Nothing, Auntie. He's just being nice." Auntie Ngozi grabbed Chioma by the shoulders, her grip tight. "Listen to me, Chioma. Men don't give money for free. They always want something in return. Stay away from him." But Chioma didn't listen. She was young, naive, and desperate for someone to care about her. Chief Okonkwo had become the father figure she had lost, the protector she had always wanted. How could someone so kind have bad intentions? One Friday evening, Chief Okonkwo called Chioma and asked her to meet him at a house in Lekki Phase 1. "I have something for you," he said. "Some books and a new school bag. Come and collect them." Chioma agreed without hesitation. She told Auntie Ngozi she was going to study at a friend's house and left. The address Chief Okonkwo had given her led to a large, beautiful house with high walls and a security gate. Chioma felt a twinge of unease as she approached, but she pushed it aside. Chief Okonkwo had always been kind to her. There was nothing to worry about. The gate opened and a security man let her in. The compound was quiet, almost eerily so. Chief Okonkwo met her at the door, smiling as always. "Come in, Chioma. The things are inside." Chioma stepped into the house, her eyes wide as she took in the luxurious interior. Plush leather sofas, gleaming marble floors, a massive plasma television. She had never been in a house like this before. "Sit down," Chief Okonkwo said, gesturing to the sofa. "Let me get you something to drink." Chioma sat down, feeling out of place. Chief Okonkwo returned with a glass of malt and handed it to her. "Drink," he said. "You must be thirsty." Chioma took a sip. The drink tasted strange, slightly bitter, but she didn't want to be rude. She drank it all. Within minutes, her head began to spin. The room blurred around her, and her body felt heavy, like she was sinking into the sofa. She tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. "Chief Okonkwo," she mumbled, her voice slurred. "I don't feel well." Chief Okonkwo's smile disappeared. In its place was something cold, something predatory. "Don't worry, Chioma," he said, his voice no longer kind. "You'll be fine." Chioma tried to scream, but no sound came out. The last thing she remembered before everything went black was Chief Okonkwo's hands on her, pulling at her clothes. When she woke up, it was dark outside. Her body ached and her clothes were torn. She lay on the cold marble floor, alone and broken. Tears streamed down her face as the full horror of what had happened sank in. Chief Okonkwo had drugged her. He had violated her. The man she had trusted, the man she had thought was kind, had destroyed her. Chioma forced herself to stand, her legs trembling. She found her bag and stumbled out of the house, the security man opening the gate without a word, as if he had seen this happen before, as if she wasn't the first. Chioma walked through the dark streets, her mind numb. She didn't know how long she walked or where she was going. All she knew was that she couldn't go back to Auntie Ngozi's house. Not like this. Not with the shame burning inside her. She found herself at a bus stop and sat down, hugging her knees to her chest. The world around her continued as if nothing had happened. Danfo buses passed by, people laughed and talked, music blared from nearby beer parlors. But Chioma's world had ended. She sat there until morning, until the sun rose and the city came alive again. Then she forced herself to stand and began the long walk back to Ajegunle. When she finally reached the compound house, Auntie Ngozi was waiting for her, fury written all over her face. "Where have you been?" she shouted. "I've been looking for you everywhere. Do you know what time it is?" Chioma opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. She just stood there, tears rolling down her cheeks. Auntie Ngozi's anger softened when she saw the state Chioma was in. Her torn dress, her dishevelled hair, the haunted look in her eyes. "Chioma," she whispered, stepping closer. "What happened to you?" Chioma collapsed into her aunt's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "He hurt me, Auntie. Chief Okonkwo. He hurt me." Auntie Ngozi held her tight, her own tears falling. "I told you," she whispered bitterly. "I told you to stay away from him." But what good were warnings now? The damage was done. Chioma spent the next few days in bed, refusing to eat or speak. Auntie Ngozi wanted to report Chief Okonkwo to the police, but Chioma begged her not to. "What's the point?" she said dully. "He's rich, he's powerful. No one will believe me. They'll say I was asking for it. They'll say I went there willingly." Auntie Ngozi knew Chioma was right. In a society where victims were often blamed more than perpetrators, especially when the perpetrator was wealthy, justice was a luxury poor girls like Chioma couldn't afford. So they stayed silent. Chioma eventually returned to school, but she was no longer the same. She avoided people, kept her head down, and barely spoke. Her classmates whispered about her, spreading rumors that she had gotten involved with a sugar daddy. Chioma didn't bother defending herself. What was the point? Then, 2 months later, Chioma realized something was wrong. Her period, which had always been regular, didn't come. She waited another week, hoping it was just stress, but deep down, she knew she was pregnant. The realization hit her like a physical blow. She sat in the bathroom, staring at her reflection in the cracked mirror, and felt her world crumble all over again. She was 17 years old, an orphan with no money, no support, and now no future. She couldn't tell Auntie Ngozi. Not yet. She needed time to think, to figure out what to do. But as the weeks passed and her belly began to swell, hiding it became impossible. One evening, as Chioma was helping prepare Iba for dinner, Auntie Ngozi noticed. "Chioma," she said slowly, her eyes fixed on Chioma's stomach. "Are you pregnant?" Chioma's hands trembled. She tried to speak, but the words stuck in her throat. She nodded. Auntie Ngozi dropped the mortar she was holding. "Jesus Christ," she whispered. "Chioma, how could you let this happen?" "I didn't let anything happen, Auntie," Chioma cried. "He forced me. I didn't want this." But Auntie Ngozi wasn't listening. She was pacing now, her hands on her head. "This is a disaster, a complete disaster. How am I supposed to feed another child? How are you supposed to go to school? What will people say?" "I'm sorry, Auntie," Chioma sobbed. "I'm so sorry." Auntie Ngozi stopped pacing and looked at her, and for a moment Chioma saw something like pity in her eyes. But it was quickly replaced by resignation. "You can't stay here, Chioma," she said quietly. "I can't afford to take care of you and a baby. You'll have to find somewhere else to go." Chioma's heart sank. "But Auntie, where will I go? I have no one." "That's not my problem," Auntie Ngozi said, her voice hard. "You should have thought about that before you got yourself into this mess." Chioma wanted to scream, to tell her aunt that this wasn't her fault, that she was the victim here. But she knew it wouldn't make a difference. In Auntie Ngozi's eyes, in society's eyes, she was damaged goods, a girl who had brought shame upon herself, and shame, in their world, was unforgivable. The next morning, Chioma packed her few belongings into a small Ghana must-go bag. Auntie Ngozi gave her 10,000 naira and told her to leave before the neighbors started asking questions. Chioma didn't argue. She took the money, picked up her bag, and walked out of the compound house for the last time. As she stood on the street, watching the world go by, she felt more alone than she had ever felt in her life. She had no plan, no destination. She just started walking. The streets of Lagos were unforgiving, especially for a pregnant teenage girl with nowhere to go. Chioma spent her first night sleeping on a bench at Ojuelegba, clutching her bag to her chest and jumping at every sound. The next day, she used some of her money to buy bread and lacasera, but she knew it wouldn't last long. She needed to find work, but who would hire a pregnant girl? Days turned into weeks. Chioma survived by begging, by doing small chores for market women in exchange for food. She slept wherever she could find shelter, in abandoned buildings, under overhead bridges, in market stalls after closing time. Her belly grew bigger, and with it, the stares and whispers followed her everywhere. "Look at that girl," people would say. "So young and already pregnant. No shame at all." Chioma learned to ignore them. She had bigger problems to worry about. One day, as she was sitting by the roadside at Oshodi, too exhausted to move, an old woman stopped in front of her. She was small and frail, with kind eyes and a weathered face. "My Pekin," the woman said gently, "why you dey sit here like this? Where your family day?" Chioma looked up at her, too tired to lie. "I no get family, Mama. I no get anywhere to go." The old woman studied her for a long moment, then sighed. "Come with me," she said. "You no fit stay here. You no safe." Chioma hesitated. She had learned to be wary of kindness, especially from strangers. But something about this woman felt genuine. So she stood up and followed her. The old woman's name was Mama Chinedu. She lived in a tiny wooden kiosk behind a church in Ikeja. The kiosk was barely big enough for one person, let alone two, but Mama Chinedu made space. "You go sleep here," she said, pointing to a thin mat on the floor. "No big, but a beta pass street." Chioma's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Mama," she whispered. "God go bless you." Mama Chinedu waved off her thanks. "Make you no dey thank me yet. You go work if you want stay here. I dey sell akara and ejige bread for front of church. You go help me." Chioma nodded eagerly. "I go do anything, Mama. I promise." And so Chioma began a new chapter of her life. She woke up at dawn every day to help Mama Chinedu prepare the akara. She ground the beans, mixed the batter, and fried the akara in hot groundnut oil. Then she would sell them to customers throughout the day. The work was hard, especially as her pregnancy progressed, but Chioma didn't complain. For the first time in weeks, she had food to eat and a roof over her head, even if it was just a wooden kiosk. Mama Chinedu was a widow with no children of her own. She had lost her only son years ago in the Ikeja cantonment bomb blast, and since then she had lived alone, surviving on her small akara business. She didn't ask Chioma many questions about her past. She simply accepted her, cared for her, and treated her like the daughter she had never had. As the months passed, Chioma's belly grew rounder. Mama Chinedu took her to a government hospital for antenatal care, paying for the checkups with the little money she had. "You must take care of yourself and the baby," Mama Chinedu would say. "Wetin don happen for back na back. Now, you get new life where they grow inside you. Now that one matter." Chioma tried to believe her, but the past had a way of haunting her. At night, when she lay on her mat, she would think about Chief Okonkwo. She wondered if he ever thought about her, if he ever felt any guilt for what he had done. Probably not. Men like him never did. One afternoon, as Chioma was selling akara, a car pulled up nearby. It was a black Range Rover Sport, just like the one Chief Okonkwo drove. Chioma's heart stopped. She watched as the door opened and a man stepped out. But it wasn't Chief Okonkwo. It was someone else, a younger man, tall and handsome, wearing an expensive suit. He walked past her without a second glance, and Chioma exhaled in relief. But the encounter shook her. What would she do if she ever saw Chief Okonkwo again? Would she confront him? Would she run? She didn't have answers to these questions, so she pushed them aside and focused on surviving. The day Chioma went into labor, Mama Chinedu was the one who rushed her to the hospital. The labor was long and painful, lasting nearly 20 hours. Chioma screamed until her voice gave out, gripping Mama Chinedu's hand as wave after wave of pain crashed over her. Finally, just as the sun was rising, she heard it, the cry of her baby. "Nah, boy," the nurse said, placing the tiny wailing infant in Chioma's arms. Chioma looked down at him, and for the first time in months, she felt something other than pain. She felt love. This tiny, helpless creature was hers. He had her eyes, her nose, her full lips. But when she looked closer, she saw traces of someone else too. Chief Okonkwo, the man who had destroyed her life, was now forever a part of it through this child. Chioma named him Chukwuemeka after her father. She vowed that no matter what, she would protect him, love him, and give him the life she had been denied. Mama Chinedu helped Chioma care for Chukwuemeka during those early months. She showed her how to bathe him, how to soothe him when he cried, how to breastfeed him properly. Chioma was grateful beyond words. Without Mama Chinedu, she didn't know if she and Chukwuemeka would have survived. As Chukwuemeka grew, so did Chioma's determination to build a better life for him. She saved every kobo she could from selling akara, hiding the money in a small tin box under her mat. By the time Chukwuemeka was 2 years old, Chioma had saved enough to rent a small room in a compound house nearby in Agege. It wasn't much, just a single room with peeling paint and a leaky roof, but it was theirs. Mama Chinedu was sad to see them go, but she understood. "You dey grow up, my daughter," she said, hugging Chioma tightly. "I dey proud of you." Chioma cried as she said goodbye to the woman who had saved her life. "I no go ever forget wetin you do for me, Mama. Never." Mama Chinedu smiled. "Just take care of that Pekin. Make sure say he grow up to be good man. Na only that one I dey ask." Chioma moved into her new room with Chukwuemeka, and for the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope. She continued selling akara, waking up at dawn and working until nightfall. Chukwuemeka was a bright, energetic child. By the time he was 3, he was already asking endless questions about everything. "Mama, why sky blue? Mama, where baby day come from? Mama, why I no get papa?" That last question always made Chioma's heart ache. She had rehearsed her answer many times, but it never got easier. "Your papa no day here, Chukwuemeka," she would say gently. "But no matter. We get each other, and not only that one we need." Chukwuemeka would nod, satisfied for the moment, but Chioma knew the questions would come again. As he grew older, he would want to know more, and one day she would have to tell him the truth. But not yet. Not while he was still so young and innocent. When Chukwuemeka turned 4, Chioma enrolled him in a small nursery school nearby. The fees were expensive, but she was determined to give him an education. She worked even harder, taking on extra jobs washing clothes and cleaning houses for wealthier families in the neighborhood. Her hands grew rough and calloused, her back ached constantly, but she didn't complain. This was for Chukwuemeka. Everything she did was for him. One day, as Chioma was walking home from the market, she passed by a construction site. A large billboard stood at the entrance, displaying the name of the company, Okonkwo and Sons Construction Lalti. Chioma froze. Okonkwo. The name sent a chill down her spine. Could it be the same Chief Okonkwo? She wanted to keep walking, to forget she had ever seen that sign, but curiosity got the better of her. She lingered for a moment, watching as workers moved about the site. Then she saw him. Chief Okonkwo. He was standing near a white Hilux van, talking on his phone. He looked older now, his hair graying at the temples, but it was definitely him. Chioma's breath caught in her throat. Her hands began to tremble. 5 years had passed since that terrible night, but seeing him again brought all the pain rushing back. She wanted to scream, to run up to him and demand answers. But what good would it do? Chief Okonkwo would deny everything. He would call her a liar, an ashewo looking for money. And even if people believed her, even if she somehow managed to get justice, it wouldn't change what had happened. It wouldn't erase the scars he had left on her soul. So Chioma turned and walked away, her heart heavy. She didn't tell anyone about the encounter, not even Mama Chinedu. She buried it deep inside, along with all the other painful memories she carried. Life continued. Chukwuemeka grew into a smart, charming boy who was loved by everyone in the neighborhood. He excelled in school, always coming home with gold stars and certificates. Chioma's heart swelled with pride every time she looked at him. Despite everything she had been through, despite all the pain and suffering, Chukwuemeka was her reward. He was proof that something good could come out of even the darkest situations. But as Chukwuemeka grew older, he began to notice things. He noticed that other children had fathers who picked them up from school, who played football with them, who bought them gifts. He noticed that when people asked about his father, Chioma would change the subject. And he noticed the sadness in his mother's eyes whenever the topic came up. One evening, when Chukwuemeka was 7 years old, he asked the question Chioma had been dreading. "Mama," he said, looking up at her with those big, innocent eyes, "where my papa day? Why no day live with us?" Chioma's heart sank. She had known this day would come, but she still wasn't ready. She knelt down so she was at eye level with her son. "Chukwuemeka," she said gently, "your papa no day for our life. But that one no mean say person no love you. You get me, and you get Mama Chinedu, and you get plenty people way they care about you." Chukwuemeka frowned. "But why you no one day with us? I do something wrong?" "No, my love," Chioma said quickly, pulling him into a hug. "You no do anything wrong. You perfect. This thing no get anything to do with you." Chukwuemeka hugged her back, but Chioma could feel his confusion, his sadness. She wished she could protect him from this pain, but she knew she couldn't. The absence of a father was a wound that would follow him for the rest of his life. As the years passed, Chioma continued to work tirelessly. She saved enough money to move into a slightly bigger room, one with a proper bed and a small table where Chukwuemeka could do his homework. She bought him books, toys, and clothes, making sure he never lacked anything. But no matter how hard she worked, she could never quite shake the feeling of inadequacy. Other children had 2 parents, comfortable homes, and bright futures. Chukwuemeka had only her. And though she gave him everything she could, she worried it would never be enough. When Chukwuemeka was 10 years old, Mama Chinedu fell ill. It started with a cough that wouldn't go away, then progressed to difficulty breathing. Chioma took her to the hospital, where the doctors diagnosed her with tuberculosis. The treatment was expensive, but Chioma didn't hesitate. She used all her savings to pay for Mama Chinedu's medication, visiting her in the hospital every day. "You no suppose they spend your money on me," Mama Chinedu wheezed. "You need to save for Chukwuemeka future." "Mama, you saved my life," Chioma said firmly. "Make I save your own." But despite Chioma's efforts, Mama Chinedu's condition worsened. One evening, as Chioma sat by her bedside, the old woman took her hand. "Chioma," she said weakly, "I want make you promise me something." "Anything, Mama." "Promise me say, you go continue today fight. Promise me say, you go give Chukwuemeka the life where you no get. And promise me say you go forgive yourself." Tears streamed down Chioma's face. "I promise, Mama. I promise." Mama Chinedu smiled, then closed her eyes. She passed away peacefully that night, with Chioma holding her hand. Chioma was devastated. Mama Chinedu had been more than a friend. She had been a mother, a savior, a beacon of hope in Chioma's darkest moments. And now she was gone. The funeral was small, attended only by a few neighbors and church members. Chioma stood by the grave, clutching Chukwuemeka's hand, and wept for the woman who had given her a second chance at life. After Mama Chinedu's death, Chioma felt more alone than ever, but she couldn't afford to wallow in grief. She had Chukwuemeka to think about. So she dried her tears, squared her shoulders, and got back to work. Life, as it always did, went on. Chukwuemeka was now in primary 6, and his teachers often praised him for his intelligence and good behavior. "Your son a very bright pekin," one teacher told Chioma during a parent-teacher meeting. "He fit go far if he get the right opportunity." Chioma's heart swelled with pride. She was determined to give Chukwuemeka those opportunities, no matter what it took. But fate, as always, had other plans. One afternoon, as Chioma was selling akara in her usual spot in Ikeja, a sleek black car pulled up. The door opened, and a man stepped out. Chioma's heart stopped. It was Chief Okonkwo. He looked older now, his face lined with age, but there was no mistaking him. He walked up to her, a faint smile on his lips. "Chioma," he said, as if they were old friends. "Now you be this." Chioma's blood ran cold. She wanted to run, to scream, to throw the hot groundnut oil in his face, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Wettin you want?" she said coldly. Chief Okonkwo's smile faltered. "I just want to see how you day. I hear say you get pekin." Chioma's hands clenched into fists. "Wettin concern you?" "I concern because na my pekin," Chief Okonkwo said quietly. Chioma stared at him, her heart pounding. "Wettin you talk?" "I know say na my pekin, Chioma. I don't know for long time now. I see him for the school way I day sponsor. He looked like me." Chioma felt like the ground was falling away beneath her. "You no get right," she hissed. "You no get right to claim I'm after wettin you do to me." Chief Okonkwo sighed. "I know say I hurt you, Chioma. I be different person that time, but I don't change. I want make things right. I want be papa to Chukwuemeka. Chioma laughed bitterly. Make things right? You think say money fit, make things right? You think say you fit, just waka come back inside our life and pretend say nothing. No happen? I know they pretend, Chief Okonkwo said. I they offer to help. I fit give Chukwuemeka good education, good life. I fit give everything way I no get. I no need you, Chioma said through gritted teeth. We done survive this long without you. We no need your money or your guilt. Chief Okonkwo looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. I understand, but think about Chioma. Think about Wetinde best for Chukwuemeka. He turned and walked back to his car, leaving Chioma standing there, trembling with rage and confusion. That night, Chioma couldn't sleep. Chief Okonkwo's words echoed in her mind. Think about Wetinde best for Chukwuemeka. Was he right? Could she really deny Chukwuemeka the opportunity for a better life just because of her pride? But how could she let that man into their lives, the man who had violated her, who had left her to suffer alone? The next day, Chioma confided in a neighbor, an older woman named Auntie Blessing. Wetin I suppose do? Chioma asked, her voice breaking. I suppose allow help Chukwuemeka? Auntie Blessing thought for a moment, then said, Chioma, I no fit tell you wetin to do. But I go talk this one. You done fight well to give Chukwuemeka good life. Make your pain no block the pick in future. If this man truly want help, maybe you suppose allow For Chukwuemeka's sake. Chioma knew Auntie Blessing was right, but the thought of seeing Chief Okonkwo again, of letting him into Chukwuemeka's life, made her stomach churn. Still, she couldn't deny that Chukwuemeka deserved better than what she could give him. She thought about it for days, weighing the pros and cons, praying for guidance. Finally, she made a decision. She would meet with Chief Okonkwo, not for herself, but for Chukwuemeka. When she called Chief Okonkwo and agreed to meet, he sounded relieved. They met at a quiet restaurant in Victoria Island. Chief Okonkwo arrived in his usual expensive agbada, while Chioma wore a simple Ankara dress she had sewn herself. Thank you for coming, Chief Okonkwo said, standing as she approached the table. Chioma didn't return his smile. She sat down, her arms crossed. Make we put something clear, she said. I know they do this for you. I they do for Chukwuemeka. If you hurt if you disappoint I no go ever forgive you. I understand, Chief Okonkwo said. I want do right by Chioma. I want give him the opportunity way I no give you. Chioma's jaw tightened. You no fit undo the past, Chief Okonkwo, but if you serious about helping Chukwuemeka, then I go allow on one condition. Wetin be that? You stay away from me. You deal with Chukwuemeka, no be me. I no want see you unless a very necessary. Chief Okonkwo nodded. Fair enough. And so an uneasy arrangement was made. Chief Okonkwo began paying for Chukwuemeka's school fees, buying him books and uniforms, and even enrolling him in extra lessons. Chukwuemeka was thrilled. For the first time in his life, he had a father figure. He didn't know the full truth about Chief Okonkwo, didn't know the darkness that connected them. And Chioma was determined to keep it that way. For now. As the months passed, Chief Okonkwo became more involved in Chukwuemeka's life. He would pick him up from school, take him out for ice cream, and buy him toys. Chukwuemeka adored him, and Chioma hated it. She hated seeing her son smile at the man who had destroyed her. But she kept her promise. She stayed silent, watching from the sidelines as Chief Okonkwo played the role of the doting father. Then one day, Chief Okonkwo came to Chioma with a proposal. I want make Chukwuemeka come live with me, he said. Chioma's heart stopped. Wetin? I get big house, Chioma. I go get him own room, I'm own space. I go the best school, get access to the best opportunity. No be that one you want for No, Chioma said immediately. Absolutely not. Chioma, I beg reason well, Chief Okonkwo said. You dey struggle. You dey work day and night just to make ends meet. I fit give Chukwuemeka better life. I talk say no. Chioma's voice rose. None I pickin'. I know they give 'em to you. Chief Okonkwo's expression hardened. Then I go carry you go court. I go fight for custody. Chioma stared at him, her blood running cold. You no fit dare. I fit, Chief Okonkwo said calmly. Na im papa I be. I get right. Chioma felt like she was drowning. She had been a fool to trust him, to let him into Chukwuemeka's life. And now he was threatening to take her son away. Komot, she said, her voice shaking. Komot before I do something, way I go regret. Chief Okonkwo stood, straightening his agbada. Think about Chioma. I go give you 1 week to decide. Either you allow Chukwuemeka come willingly, or I go take by force. He walked out, leaving Chioma sitting there, her world crumbling around her. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't afford a lawyer. She had no one to turn to. And Chief Okonkwo had all the power. That night, Chioma knelt by her bed and prayed harder than she had ever prayed before. God, she whispered through her tears, I don't lose everything. My mama, my papa, my home, my dignity. I beg no let them take my pickin' from me. Not only am I get. But God, as always, was silent. And Chioma was left to face the storm alone. The next few days were torture. Chioma tried to act normal around Chukwuemeka, but he could sense something was wrong. Mama, you day okay? He asked one evening, his big eyes filled with concern. Chioma forced a smile. I day fine, my love. Just say I tire small. But she wasn't fine. She was terrified. The thought of losing Chukwuemeka was unbearable. He was her reason for living, her hope, her future. Without him, she had nothing. On the 5th day, Chief Okonkwo called. You don't make decision, he asked. I need more time, Chioma said. You don't get enough time. I want answer by tomorrow. The line went dead. Chioma sat there, staring at her phone, feeling utterly helpless. She thought about running, about taking Chukwuemeka and disappearing. But where would they go? Chief Okonkwo had money, connections, power. He would find them eventually. That night, as Chukwuemeka slept peacefully beside her, Chioma made a decision. She would fight. She didn't know how, didn't know if she would win, but she would fight with everything she had. Because no one, not even Chief Okonkwo, was going to take her son away. The next morning, Chioma went to see a lawyer. The consultation was free, and the lawyer, a kind middle-aged woman named Mrs. Adeyemi, listened patiently as Chioma explained her situation. This na difficult case, Mrs. Adeyemi said when Chioma finished. Chief Okonkwo gets strong claim as the biological father, but the facts say no day involved for Chukwuemeka life for the first 10 years, go work for your favor. Also, if you fit prove, say get access to Chukwuemeka through false pretense or through coercion, that one fit help. But I no get money for lawyer, Chioma said, her voice breaking. I barely get money for food. Mrs. Adeyemi studied her for a moment, then sighed. I go take your case pro bono. I no fit stand and look as rich men they bully mothers. We think say them fit buy their way into children life. Chioma's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you well. Make you know they thank me yet, Mrs. Adeyemi said. This thing go hard, but I promise you, I go do everything way day my power to help you keep your peakin'. And so the battle began. Chief Okonkwo filed for custody, claiming that Chioma was an unfit mother who couldn't provide for Chukwuemeka. Chioma, with Mrs. Adeyemi's help, fought back. The case dragged on, for months. Chioma had to take time off work to attend court hearings, which meant less money for food and rent. She survived on the kindness of neighbors, who brought her food and offered words of encouragement. Chukwuemeka, meanwhile, was confused. He didn't understand why his mother and his father were fighting, why he had to go to court and answer questions. Mama, why we no fit just stay happy together? He asked one day. Chioma's heart broke. Ide complicated, my love, she said, hugging him tight. But no matter wetin happen, I go always love you, always. The court case became the talk of the neighborhood. Some people sided with Chioma, praising her strength and determination. Others sided with Chief Okonkwo, arguing that Chukwuemeka deserved the privileges that wealth could provide. That poor girl, one woman said, she dey fight losing battle, how she go compete with Billionaire? It get hard, another replied, and sometimes not only that one person need. But heart, Chioma was learning, wasn't always enough. Chief Okonkwo had hired the best lawyers money could buy. They painted Chioma as a struggling, uneducated woman who couldn't provide a stable home for Chukwuemeka. They pointed to her small, leaky room, her meager income, her lack of formal education. Chioma sat in the courtroom, listening to them tear her life apart, and felt like she was drowning all over again. But Mrs. Adeyemi was a fierce advocate. She highlighted Chioma's sacrifices, her unwavering dedication to Chukwuemeka, and the fact that she had raised him single-handedly for 10 years, while Chief Okonkwo had been nowhere to be found. "This man," Mrs. Adeyemi said, pointing at Chief Okonkwo, "he claims say he won wetting go good for Chukwuemeka. But where a day when Chukwuemeka born? Where a day when Chioma day homeless and they struggle to survive? Where a day during the sleepless night, the sickness, the tears?" The courtroom fell silent. Even Chief Okonkwo looked uncomfortable. "E no day there," Mrs. Adeyemi continued, her voice rising, "because e no care. And now, e wan waka come play papa because e convenient for am. Because e wan ease him guilty conscience. But this thing no be about am. This na about Chukwuemeka. And Chukwuemeka belong with the woman we don't love am, fight for am, and sacrifice everything for am. I'm mama." The judge listened carefully, asking questions and reviewing evidence. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he made his ruling. After careful consideration, the judge said, "I don't decide say custody of Chukwuemeka go remain with him mama, Chioma. However, Chief Okonkwo go get visitation right and he go pay child support." Chioma's knees buckled. She had won. She had actually won. Mrs. Adeyemi hugged her tightly. "You do am," she whispered. "You fight and you win." Chioma sobbed into her shoulder, overwhelmed with relief and gratitude. Chief Okonkwo, meanwhile, looked furious. He stormed out of the courtroom without a word. As Chioma walked, out of the courthouse with Chukwuemeka by her side, she felt like she could finally breathe again. But she knew this wasn't over. Chief Okonkwo was a powerful man, and powerful men didn't take defeat lightly. True to her fears, Chief Okonkwo didn't give up. He continued to visit Chukwuemeka, but his demeanor had changed. He was colder now, more distant. He still bought Chukwuemeka gifts and paid his school fees, but there was no warmth in his interactions. Chukwuemeka noticed. "Mama, why Papa dey behave strange?" he asked one day. Chioma didn't know how to answer. How could she explain that the man Chukwuemeka called Papa was angry because he couldn't control their lives? Then one day Chief Okonkwo stopped coming altogether. He stopped calling, stopped visiting, stopped paying child support. Chioma tried to reach him, but his number was disconnected. She went to his office, but the security wouldn't let her in. It was as if he had vanished. Chukwuemeka was heartbroken. "I do something wrong?" he asked, tears streaming down his face. "No, my love," Chioma said, holding him close. "This thing no get anything to do with you. Your papa just, Ade go through something." But Chioma knew the truth. Chief Okonkwo had abandoned them. Again, life became harder. Without the child support, Chioma struggled to pay Chukwuemeka's school fees. She took on more jobs, working from dawn until late at night. But it was never enough. Chukwuemeka's school threatened to expel him if the fees weren't paid. Chioma begged for more time, but the headmaster was unsympathetic. "We dey run business, madam," he said. "If you no fit pay, you go withdraw your pekin." Chioma left the office in tears. She felt like she was failing Chukwuemeka, failing the promise she had made to give him a better life. But just when things seemed darkest, help came from an unexpected source. One of Chioma's regular customers, a wealthy businesswoman named Mrs. Adenike, had noticed Chioma's struggles. "Chioma," she said one day, "I done dey watch you. You work past anybody way I know, and you're picking a good boy. I want help." "Help?" Chioma asked, confused. "I go pay him school fees," Mrs. Adenike said, "and I go give you job for my restaurant. Proper job with salary." Chioma couldn't believe it. "Why you go do this thing for me?" Mrs. Adenike smiled. "Because I been be like you before. I dey struggle, I dey alone, I dey fear. Somebody help me when I need 'em most. Now na my turn to help another person." Chioma burst into tears. "Thank you," she sobbed. Thank you well. And so Chioma's life took another turn. She started working at Mrs. Adenike's restaurant, earning a steady income for the first time in years. Chukwuemeka's school fees were paid, and he was able to continue his education. Slowly, life began to improve. Chukwuemeka excelled in school. He was at the top of his class, a natural leader loved by his teachers and classmates. Chioma's heart swelled with pride every time she looked at him. Despite everything they had been through, Chukwuemeka was growing into a kind, intelligent, and compassionate young man. Years passed. Chukwuemeka graduated from primary school with honors and was admitted to one of the best secondary schools in Lagos, Federal Government College Ijanikin. Chioma, now working as a manager at Mrs. Adenike's restaurant, was finally able to give him the life she had always dreamed of. But the shadow of Chief Okonkwo still loomed over them. Chukwuemeka often asked about his father, wondering why he had disappeared. Chioma never told him the full truth. She couldn't bear to shatter his innocence, to tell him that his father was a man who had hurt her in the worst possible way. Then, on Chukwuemeka's 15th birthday, Chief Okonkwo resurfaced. He showed up at Chioma's house unannounced, carrying an expensive gift, a brand new iPhone. "I want to see my pickin'," he said. Chioma stared at him, her old wounds reopening. "You no get right," she said coldly. "You abandon Am. You disappear for 5 years without word, and now you think, say you fit just waka back inside him life." "I make mistake," Chief Okonkwo said. "I been dey vex, I been get pride, but I don't realize say Chukwuemeka na my pekin. I want dey part of him life again." "He don lat," Chioma said. "No, he never late," Chief Okonkwo insisted. "Abeg, Chioma, allow me see Am. Just for small time." Before Chioma could respond, Chukwuemeka appeared at the door. He stared at Chief Okonkwo, his expression unreadable. "Chukwuemeka," Chief Okonkwo said, his voice softening. "My pickin. I dey very sorry. I know say I hurt you. I know say I let you down, but I want make 'em right." Chukwuemeka looked at his mother, then back at Chief Okonkwo. "Why you leave?" he asked quietly. Chief Okonkwo hesitated. "I been foolish. I allow my pride enter way, but I done change. I want be the papa way you deserve." Chukwuemeka studied him for a long moment, then shook his head. "I no need you," he said. "I get my mama. She don day there for me my whole life. You no day. And I day okay with that thing." Chief Okonkwo's face crumpled. "Chukwuemeka, abeg." "No," Chukwuemeka said firmly. "You make your choice. Now I day make my own." He turned and walked back into the house, leaving Chief Okonkwo standing there, speechless. Chioma felt a surge of pride. Her son had stood up for himself, for her. He had chosen love over wealth, loyalty over convenience. Chief Okonkwo looked at Chioma, his eyes filled with regret. "I dey sorry, Chioma," he said quietly. "For everything." Chioma didn't respond. She simply closed the door. As she watched Chief Okonkwo walk away, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The man who had haunted her for so many years was finally out of her life. For good. That evening, as Chioma and Chukwuemeka sat together, she pulled him into a hug. "I dey very proud of you," she whispered. "I learn from the best," Chukwuemeka said, smiling. "You teach me to day strong, Mama. To never give up." Chioma's eyes filled with tears. Despite everything, despite all the pain and suffering, she had succeeded. She had raised a good man. And that, she realized, was the greatest victory of all. Years continued to pass. Chukwuemeka finished secondary school at the top of his class and won a scholarship to study medicine at the University of Lagos. Chioma watched him graduate, her heart bursting with pride. This was the moment she had fought for, the moment she had dreamed of. And now it was real. Chukwuemeka went on to become a successful doctor, dedicating his life to helping others. He never forgot where he came from, never forgot the sacrifices his mother had made. He built Chioma a beautiful house in Lekki, made sure she never had to work again, and treated her like the queen she was. And Chioma, for the first time in her life, knew peace. She had survived, she had overcome, and she had won. As for Chief Okonkwo, he lived out the rest of his days in regret, haunted by the choices he had made. He had wealth, power, and success. But he had lost the one thing that mattered most, his son's love. And that, as Chioma had learned long ago, was something money could never buy. If you were in Chioma's shoes, would you have let Chief Okonkwo back into Chukwuemeka's life? Or would you have shut the door like she did? And what about Chukwuemeka? Was he right to reject his father, or should he have given him another chance? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more inspiring stories. Part 2 is coming soon. God bless you.